Welcome, good morning, and welcome to Beyond the Lunch and Learn, the lowdown on hosting events that agents love. I'm Connor Bartley. Bam, 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 bam. Clearly, I'm pretty excited because what we're about to do today goes way beyond just free sandwiches, PowerPoint presentations, the boring crap that nobody loves. Today is about learning how to host kick-ass events that agents actually show up for, that build real partnerships, and that genuinely move the needle in your business. So, can I get a few bams from everybody here in the chat? Just give me a bam. All right, let's warm that up,
And
okay? And tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're coming from, where you tree. I want to know who's here. All right, we've got a good group forming. People are starting to roll in. Bam from Cape Cod. What's up, Ed? Bam from Texas. What's up, Lee? Bam from Spokane. We got Colorado in the house, Connecticut, Sacramento, Fort Worth. People are from all over the country. This is awesome, guys. Thank you for choosing to spend your time here today. While you guys are putting stuff in the chat, let me set the stage. Okay, we've got four panelists joining us today. Each one of them have been guests on the Lowdown Mortgage podcast. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. No bias there, right? And they're all executing event strategy at a high level in their respective markets. They're some of the most creative, most successful, most battle tested loan originators in the country, and they're here to pull back the curtain on exactly how they are doing the event strategy. Let me give you a huge welcome to our panelists. First, from St. Louis, Missouri, we've got Paige Ringkamp, who has mastered the art of teaching through value, co-hosting investing classes with agents that they absolutely rave about. From Denver, Colorado, we've got Elizabeth Tura, who has scaled events from small, intimate meetups to massive corporately sponsored productions that are generating real pipeline. From Dallas, Texas, we've got PJ Hollon, who's live on location in Universal Studios, I believe, today. She's hosting content-driven, topic-first approach that consistently draws crowds and creates loyal agent partnerships. And last but not least, we had to go ladies first. We got from Crown Point, Indiana, Jon Wells, who's the co-hosting speakeasy master who uses exclusivity and strategic partnerships to elevate authority and fill rooms with the exact agents that he wants to work with. And then guiding this conversation, the man, the myth, the legend, someone who needs no introduction in this industry, the host of Mortgage Marketing Radio, and one of the most respected voices in the agent LO strategy. We've got Geoff Zimpfer. I'm going to drop in the comments or the chat here a link to Mortgage Marketing Institute for Geoff. You guys need to check him out. And let me give you a little background on how this started and a little story about Geoff that I think everyone should hear today, okay? I had this idea that I've been talking to some great people, and this topic had come up, and I said, we got to host a panel. We've got to do a big thing with this, and then I know I'm going to Sales Mastery that was here in Dallas back in October, and I'm like, Geoff's on the stage. I know he's going to be there. He's the best, most authoritative person in this industry on this topic. I gotta ask him. So we're in the lobby. It's a break between speakers. I see Geoff across the room. It's one of those moments where there's probably music playing in the background, right? And I'm like tractor beams. I'm headed over to Geoff. I'm like, I got it. Here's my moment. Here's my chance. And if you guys are ever at any of these events, you being shy is expensive. That's something I learned from my man Amir Saeed. You gotta ask. You gotta step out of your comfort zone. So I go over to Geoff and I say, Geoff, I'm hosting a panel, but I need a host. I need somebody who's an expert on this topic of agent LO events. Can you do that for me? And you know what? He looks at me and he says, whatever would bring you value, Connor. And that's what I'm talking about. That is the heart that we need more of in this industry, that open hand. The most successful people in this business live with an open hand. They are helping each other, they're being collaborative. And if there's nothing that you take away from today other than that, is that you need to get in the rooms with the people that represent your future. Find people locally, find people in your company, find people in this industry that you can talk to on a regular basis, collaborate with, hold each other accountable, and really get some meaningful conversation going. This job is hard enough. You want to go somewhere fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together, and find your group, guys. Get in those rooms. So I made that decision about a year ago. It's paid off for me. I love what's come of it. The growth has been incredible. You will not regret it. So, with all that being said, all right, I want everybody here to be interactive. I want you to be present. I want you to take notes, listen, ask questions, engage with this panel. I'm going to take notes, all right? And I'm going to share those notes afterward through the Lowdown on Lower newsletter, okay? If you're not subscribed, I'll put the link here in the comments or the chat so you can hop into that. But every week on Saturday, this email goes out to you. It's value added. There's some underwriting guideline tips. We'll preview or we'll share some details on the past podcast, maybe preview the ones coming up in the future. It's a great newsletter. I highly recommend it. I write it, so I'm a little biased, but but guys, I'm gonna take notes and I'm gonna share those with you so that you don't have to worry about it so much. I want you to listen, ask questions, and be a part of this. Um, and so, without further ado, I want to hand this over to Mr. Geoff Zimpfer, let him take control of this conversation and start asking these wonderful people on this panel exactly how they are using this one-to-many strategy to build their business.
Well, good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Morning.
Oh, good morning. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know how to top that. That was one hell of an intro and energy and amped up. So great job on that, Connor. Okay, so we've got a panel here of people who specialize in leading with events and hosting panels and different things like that. Okay, so I'm going to start with kind of broad types of questions, and then we're going to get a little bit more narrow and focused. First of all, I just want to say I respect everybody here on this panel, number one, because what you do, I find that most loan originators shy away from. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. And so we're going to talk about why they shy and what are some of the reasons maybe you've heard. I hear a lot of reasons as to why they don't want to host events and classes and so forth. And maybe we can unpack that and deal with some mindset issues. But let me go around the horn real quick. Let's start with this. I want to ask the question is, what has hosting events, and when I say events, I know we're talking like, I don't like to use the term lunch and learns either, because that's old school and that implies something different. And you're going to get to articulate why you don't do lunch and learns per se. But when I talk about events, I'm talking about hosting a workshop, class, educational session for a realtor, or it could be virtual or in person. We'll talk about the differences there as well. But what I want to ask you guys is, what has been the primary impact to your business in hosting events? And seeing as I'm going to go from left to right here on my video panel, I'm going to start with Elizabeth. Just a quick, 60-second takeaway. What's been the biggest impact for you hosting events for your business?
I would say the easiest thing to really consider why you would do an event and what you get out of it is a reason to have a conversation with your referral partners. So if you do not, even if the event is just okay, first of all, not everybody's going to go to it, but you have a reason to call them and invite them to something. You have a reason to remind them that this is coming up. You have a reason to follow up with them, whether they came or whether they didn't come. So you create the event to create the reason to have a good conversation to say, hey, I know what I'm doing, an expert in this arena. I'm local in your area if it's a local event, or I'm national because I'm badass, right? And I have reach everywhere. And at the same time, I thought of you.
All right. So what I heard from there is, it is the fire starter, if you will, the jump start to all the activities we should be doing anyways.
Yeah. And it's a shortcut, right? It's a shortcut to say, here's why I don't have anything to say. Well, yes, you do. Now you do. You just create the reason to have something to say.
Okay, so I'm actually going to take notes on this because I love this is real time. Nothing to say. Right, exactly. We're also going to get into what do I teach or what's the topic, all that kind of stuff. Next up, Patty Joe, same question. What has been the impact for you hosting events?
So I'm a producing branch manager, and doing this helps my newer LOs or those that have come back into the business get in front of people that they normally wouldn't do it. So I like partnering with a really successful, title business development person that can bring people in, because they've got contacts that I can't get through the door on. So I like doing that, because then it's just natural exposure. And then when they just meet us, of course they're going to be attracted to us, because like-minded people. And when they feel your energy, and I'm really big on that, like when they feel that you're passionate and they feel your energy, then they want to do more business with you. And then they naturally, organically want to just have another conversation with you instead of just being like, hey, that was just a great call. And being scared to do another follow-up because you probably naturally, organically had a conversation that wasn't about mortgage, that wasn't about the industry, or had a crazy file. Like you bonded on something on another level aside from just getting there. So to me, it's just like a gateway drug, right? Like it just opens the door just a little bit to just kind of get in there and then infiltrate. So that's why I like it.
Yeah, such a great point. I mean, when it comes down to it, if we're working with real estate agents, it's still a relationship business, and it's, you've got to have that right synergy. They've got to like you, you've got to like them, and the fastest way to figure out is, that sniff test sort of in the early stages. Like, do you like each other? And the fastest way.
Yeah, it's a blind date.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so being in person, like as my friend Travis Newton says, if you're doing a class for 1 hour, and let's say it's you, well, you have 1 hour of a captive audience that gets to know who you are, your styles, your likes, your personality. And so that trust builds over that time that you're with them. Great answer. Jon Wells, the question. You're up, sir. Go ahead.
So what I really get out of my events is like, I've always been working this like whale list of agents, right? And I never really understood how to follow up with them, get in front of them, etc. So now I'm with my current coach, we're doing these events to position myself to be able to get in front of these agents. And they're now inviting people from their office. So I'm also getting like-minded people into these events as well, right? So it's a really great way for me to make that first impression and get that agent one-on-one when, other loan officers are still trying to call on that agent and they're not having any success. So it's a way for me to get around that first barrier of entry and then build that relationship.
Love that. What I wrote down is the am I saying this right? Multiplication factor.
Yep.
Connor, back to the Sales Mastery event. If you recall, what Todd opened up with was a story about the power of one.
Yep.
And the power of one to many. And I kind of riffed on that a little bit. I think he has been saying this for years, is that 1 + 1 does not equal 2.
Right.
1 + 1 equals many, and that's why we do events, is because we just heard from Jon, is they're going to bring other agents. So you're going to get exposure to people. We've heard from people talk about title reps. It's like, this is a one-to-many multiplication effort that's highly leveraged. All right, Paige, what's been the biggest impact for you in hosting events and classes?
Yeah, I think the biggest impact for me has just been, as we all know, your most valuable asset is your time, right? And so getting in front of agents, especially the top producing ones, and getting to, get them allow you on their calendar gets harder and harder as time goes on because everyone's busy. And I think what used to help me get in front of agents, like we can close in 3 weeks or we can do a 580 credit score, is now the norm. That's no longer a piece of value. So this has just allowed me to get on their calendar and stay in front of them in a way that's still bringing them value.
Okay. Roughly how long have all of you been doing events and classes? You can just randomly shout it out.
Since day one. So 9 years.
9 years. Okay, let me go reverse now. Jon, how about you?
I've been recently, like the last year, but I did do them for a while before COVID. So we'll just say like a year.
Okay. How about Patty? How long?
Probably since COVID. Started out with the Zoom.
Okay, so you started out on Zoom and then you went to in-person.
Yes.
Elizabeth, how many years for you?
0.6 years.
About 6 years. Okay.
No, 0.6 years, 7 months.
0.6. So 6 months. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Good for you. Has this become the dominant primary way by which you grow your awareness and engagement with real estate agents?
Are you asking me because I was the most recent baby in this?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would say absolutely. And a couple different reasons. First of all, it's working, right? Like I can tell you right now, it's working. My business is different than it was 9 months ago. And a lot of that is because I committed to this, executed it, figured it out. And now I can be a lot more efficient. I mean, I've been watching Connor figure out how the heck to be a podcaster and a newsletter editor and all these other things. And some of you just figure out and you get better, faster, stronger at it. And to me, the response back from my agents, even if they don't go, right, even if they don't attend the event, they're talking to me about it. When I talk to them in person, they're like, hey, that was a great idea of event, or hey, I like the replay, whatever the case is. And I've never had them agents reach out to me asking me for something before. So why would I not double down and do more of that thing that's getting them engaged with me and noticing and asking me to participate in a conversation with them?
Isn't that fantastic? You know, the phrase is flip the script, turn the tables. But I always like to say, you know, let's stop chasing, let's start attracting. And so now you have agents coming to you, and the power dynamics have shifted because now you have something they want. Oh, by the way, at the beginning, it's not loans and it's not interest rates, right? It's the information that you have. Patty, is this the number one thing you do to get realtor referrals?
No.
All right.
It's really word of mouth. And then I'm really good at converting a listing agent to become my next client.
Okay. I love that. Let's keep going just for sake of time. Jon, is this your top way to get realtor referrals?
It's actually not either. It's one of the things that I do, but a lot of it, I mean, it helps me get in the door with newer agents. I will say that. But a lot of what I do is, you know, between conversations I have with agents, you know, doing office meetings with them and doing one-on-one stuff as well to give them information on like loan programs and stuff.
How do you get to those one-on-ones and conversations, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's a way for me to draw in, especially the larger agents that I want to work with. Events are definitely like the top of that funnel for sure.
And maybe I should have characterized that a little bit better. In terms of activities we can do, right? If you picture that funnel per se, like at the top of that funnel, what we really want at the end of the day is conversations with real estate agents.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I guess maybe that's the better question is this a primary or the, and that's great, by the way, it's not, but it sounds like for many of you, it is the top of the funnel that gets to the one-on-one.
Correct. Yeah. It's definitely one of the things that I do on the top of the funnel to bring agents in.
I think it needs to be a layer, right? I like your funnel, but I do think it's a layer that all these pieces stack on top of each other to create this new thing that wouldn't be as robust if we took out any of those layers, just like Jonathan was saying.
That's a good
They're
point.
all important.
They're all connected. Paige, anything you want to add to my question?
Yeah, it's just everything that everyone else said, except for the other component for me is that I've just recently gotten over myself and realized that I need to do social media. And so the classes have given me content to, you know, pull different pieces of content from the classes. And as, just like Elizabeth was saying, it's another reason to reach out to people. So I'll follow up from a post. Hey, did you see my class this Friday, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna piggyback on that, Paige, because even though it's not my number one thing, it actually will be for 2026. So you mentioned the sales mastery class, and I tell you, like, if you didn't go to that thing was like mind blowing to me, as far as like what you have to do. And I think the biggest thing that kind of stuck out. Same with Paige. When I started this industry in 2018, I knew video was what I needed to do because this was my second career. So I started in video, didn't realize there were compliance things, and all my video got pulled because I wasn't compliant. And when you stop doing video, it's really hard to get back into it because you get busy. But what I learned from that sales mastery class, there is something that's coming out. And if you are not on top of that AI wave and you are not teaching it, you are going to get left behind. So I'm here in Universal, but this is actually my annual branch retreat with my team. And the one thing that we talked about was how to get in front and how we're going to teach the realtors how to do this AI stuff. Because if we're not teaching them, somebody else will be. But if we're going to teach, we have to be the student first. So we're not waiting for January 1 to start the diet. We're waiting for after Thanksgiving. And then we're going to start the diet of getting on social, just like Paige mentioned.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's a great summary. All right. I want to pivot a little bit and start taking some questions from the audience. And so I'll go back and forth. Right now, I see a question from Leslie. It's actually multiple questions. Let me start with the first one. And let me go to Jon. The question, and I'll come to the rest of you guys. This is kind of the question around in-person or virtual, right? Like where's the most successful, but do you have a general response to, because I get hellos all the time. Should I do it in person or virtual, right? What do you say?
Yeah, so I like to do in person for me personally. I'm working on, eventually I will do virtual events, but for now, everything is in person. And the reason why I do it is because I'm really thinking about my audience, and my audience are agents that are doing, at least 10 million a year or more, right? And so those agents, they'll likely come to something that's in person, especially with the local market that I'm in, as opposed to like they're not really going to hop on a Zoom call, to be honest with you. So I'm sure other markets might be different, but that's just where I'm at now with everything.
What market are you in?
I'm in Crown Point, Indiana, so it's like right outside Chicago, about 45 minutes.
So a $10 million producer is roughly how many units then?
That'd be like 40 to 50 units.
All right, so they're doing some volume.
Yeah, we have like average loan amount over here is like 250. So
okay. Well, while I got you, John, what do you say to the LOs who say top producers won't come to events?
They will if you give enough value. And if sometimes the value is having them on the panel. So we could probably get into that a little bit later, but that's definitely, you got to give them some value.
Okay. Elizabeth, 6 months in, are you virtual or in person? Both?
Both. Part of that is because I do support a group of loan officers who are not in my immediate vicinity. And so to do that, to create those events, it made sense for me to be able to help all of the loan officers who had capacity to like do this. I wanted them to have that availability too. So virtual made a lot of sense for that. And then at the same time, we did a great in-person event this summer, and just downloading with some of my closer agent friends, talking, what do we do right? What do we miss? Like what was a flop? She said, the thing that mattered the most about what we're missing here is being in the room and talking to other agents who haven't seen a lot and having that community.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that was very, very helpful reflection to me, because you can't do that virtually. Like we can to an extent, but not 100%. Yeah. So I believe it needs to be a combination of the two.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot. I'm not going to necessarily allow every person to answer the same question just for sake of time, so I can get more questions out. My quick takeaway though, to the virtual or in person, I often say both. And the reason why I say both is because there's a place and a time for doing something virtual. It's an easy way to get started, cut your teeth a little bit, get used to the content perhaps. But ultimately, what I think we would hear from everybody here is that the number one way to accelerate the trust, conversations, and referrals is in person. It's really hard to build trust with this tiny little screen that we've got here and all the things going on in virtual. Okay, let's now get into marketing and promotion. How do you get butts in seats? Let's see, Paige, I'm going to go to you. How do you get butts in seats? What's your process around that?
I start with social media posts, and then I individually reach out one-on-one via text. And then if I'm really feeling like it's going to be a light class, then I ask friends for a favor.
What is that favor? Please show up.
Yeah, like my team or some good friends of mine that are real estate agents. But usually with a one-on-one invite, it can go a long way.
All right, so break it down a little bit deeper. What's a one-on-one invite? You said a text. Is that a video, a voice? Are you using Reach app? How are you managing all that?
I am copying and pasting. Hey, I'm having a class on this. If you or anyone would like to come, I'd love to see you. Here's the date. Here's the address. Here's the time.
And those are existing relationships you're sending that text to?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Are you going cold at all?
Not for these, not yet. I think once I have mastered a certain piece of content that I want to push out, like spread my net wider maybe, but so far I'm just trying to keep it within the people that I know.
Okay. I want to definitely get to some other folks here in terms of marketing and promotion, because that's a big thing LOs want to know. John, how do you get butts in seats?
So almost all of my, actually like literally all my events, I do with one of my like partnered relationships, right? So what I mean by that is like title, my home inspection company, my insurance agency, whoever it is, right? And I partner with, my market's a little bit smaller, so like everyone knows who everybody is, right? So I work with the best title, rep in my market. I work with the best insurance agent in my market. And I've positioned myself with these people to where I can pretty much ask them for a favor. And this is also promoting their business. So it's not really a favor for them. They're getting a promotion out of this too. Right. And so what we do is now I've brought in, let's say Ryan from Chicago Title, who's the title rep in the area that I work with. So now it's myself and Ryan teaching about business planning for 2026. That's the one we just did a couple of weeks ago. And so now I'm hitting up my entire agent database that I currently work with and that I'm prospecting, and Ryan's hitting up his entire database as well. So that's where I can double my promotional efforts without cloning myself or even having anybody else do any extra work on my team.
Right.
So that's, I would say, if you're looking to get some promotions out, especially if you're a new loan officer and you haven't done this before, partner with somebody who has a ton of existing relationships and ask them to market to their database as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's that Trojan horse strategy, because they have the relationships you don't,
Yep.
and they're out in front of those agents on a daily basis. Real quick
Exactly.
question for you, Jon. You mentioned prospects. So this goes back to your agent targeting of 10 million plus in production.
Yep.
How
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
it's like those are like the top of that list, right? Like I still target agents that are below 10 million,
Okay.
but like my minimum is like 5 for my market.
And how do you reach out to them in terms of trying to get them to the event?
So that's where I use like the triangle of trust. So I know them directly because again, my market's pretty small, or
Right.
I know somebody who knows them. And that's where like if I'm having, Ryan help me with this event, then I know the agents that know Ryan, and I'm asking Ryan, hey, we're hosting this event. I want these agents to be there, and he'll get them there. Same with
Okay.
my insurance agent. They work with these agents, so they know these agents. Like, hey, I need these agents at my event. Make sure we get them over there. And so
Yeah.
that way, I'm not directly the one reaching out all the time. I'm able to leverage my relationship with, my partners that are helping me with these events. And then, of course, like if they want to meet with one of my agents, I hook that up for them as well.
Are you doing anything in terms of email marketing?
No, I mean, I do an email newsletter to agents and stuff, but not for the events. No.
And just out of curiosity, what is your kind of average attendance size?
About 30.
Wow,
30
really?
to 40.
30.
Yeah.
That's
legit.
solid.
Yeah.
That is all. How long you been doing it again?
Under a year. Like we just
Under a
started doing a
year.
lot of these like partnered events in the last like 4 months.
And I bet you started out with 30 in the room.
We actually did.
There's
I
a
will say
setup that
okay, I'll be
backfired.
honest. There was the very first event we did, we had like 12 people. But
Okay.
ever since that, we had like 30.
Who here on the panel started with just a handful, maybe 1, maybe 5 people, right?
0.
Okay. 0, right? 0 show up with your first event.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing that up for the people that are listening and watching right now is because here's the thing that I've heard consistently from everybody. The shortest time has been Elizabeth at 6 months. But guess what? How many LOs try and do a class once and they get 3 people who show up and then they quit, right? You got to do it consistently to build that momentum and knowledge and skill set and build the partnerships like with Jon with title. You might have to go through 2 or 3 title reps to find the one to get the lock in. 5. There you go. Right. All right. So let's switch now and talk about butts and seats topics. We'll talk about panels in a moment, but for doing your own events, how many of you are actually the presenter? Just show the panel here. You're the main presenter.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes not. Sometimes you'll bring in a special guest or whatnot. But let's take, for example, right now, you're the presenter, you're the facilitator. How do you come up with the topics? What types of topics do you have a short list? Let me go, Patty, back to you.
It is whatever ChatGPT tells me or Ask the Public tells me. I'm just kidding. No, but really it's whatever the hot topic is that everybody's talking about. If Barry Habib is saying something, everybody is always wanting to know when's the market coming back, when the rate is coming back. But really it's like my big thing right now is VA loans, renovation loans, and AI.
Okay, let me ask it this way. How much of your, and I'll go to Elizabeth and et cetera from this, how much of your class content is focused on mortgage related versus non-mortgage related? Elizabeth, go ahead.
I try not to talk about mortgages if I don't have to. My husband has taught me very well. Nobody wants to talk about mortgages as much as I do. So, and I know that like my job, as far as my real estate agents, I don't do loans. That is not what I do. I help them market themselves better. I help them communicate better. I help them convert better. That is my job to them. And I also take care of the financing when their buyers need it. Right. I am capable. That part of it. I don't have to demonstrate any more competence in. Everybody knows I'm good at doing mortgages at this point. Great. Okay, fine. There's also a million other people who are good at doing mortgages. There's also a crap ton that aren't good at it, but that right, like I think anybody on this panel carries themselves in a way that's like, all right, they know what they're doing. Cool. All right. Now, how can you help me? What's in it for me after that?
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
So anything that I talk about is always going to be, how do I help my agents do better at their job, either because they know something they didn't know, or I encourage them and I was like positive force, helping lead them do something that was uncomfortable for them. That's
Okay.
everything I do.
Paige, how do you come up with the content for the class?
I love that answer, Elizabeth. If I'm the one speaking, it's usually specific to either a CE that they need or it's real estate investing, which to Elizabeth's point, it's nothing to do with our programs or our rates or anything like that.
Okay, so you tend to lean into the investing side of things. Now, when it comes to CE, I mean, that could cover a lot of things. Do you have a short list of classes you already have CE approved?
Yeah, our compliance department allowed us to do 3. So I think it's like VA 203K and like Mortgage 101. So those are only few and far between, but we do get a lot of attendance for those. So it is an easy way to get in front of them.
That's
Yeah,
smart.
the CE thing is interesting because a lot of what would you guys say to this? And John, I'll come to you in a minute in terms of how you actually create the content. And for those who don't know, I was an originator for 10 years in Southern California. This is exactly how I built my business as well. And from 0 to 50, like in 18 months, and it's just because of the scale. I used to say, and I'm trying to be less flippant now. I used to say the CE is a crutch. And the reason why I used to say that is because obviously agents show up to CE just to check the box and get the credits. I'm sure you've got some personal experience with that. So what does the panel say to, do my classes need to be CE approved to get agents to show up?
No.
Right. Okay, cool. We already covered that. Now, let me keep going for sake of time. John, how do you come up with the content to present to agents?
Perfect. So first, I want to say that I've actually never hosted a CE credited event ever. So I've thought about it, but I haven't done it. But so how do I come up with topics? I want to give, again, it goes back to the value for the agents, right? So a wise man once told me this, and I hope he's watching. But as a loan officer, you should only be doing 2 things: marketing and qualifying, right? And so that's where I take that to my agents as well. So I want to give them topics that help them with marketing or qualifying. And so that's how you get people in the room, is because you're showing them how to, maybe it's how to use ChatGPT to get more listings, right? Or how to business plan for 2026 so that you can close more business and you know exactly what your blueprint is. And so that's where a lot of my topics come from, is leading with that, and what topics, situationally and during, in this time right now, revolve around those main anchors, and how, like, what's the sexy topic now that we can go over. So
Yeah, so you'll also adjust based on what's going on in the market or whatnot. For
Yep.
example, one of the classes we do a lot with my clients is the cost of waiting.
Yep.
Right. So if that might be relevant for your market, or the opposite of that is leveraging seller buy downs, right, to make your listings more attractive and create more affordability.
Exactly.
Two very, it all comes back to relevancy, right? Like you guys have said, how's it going to help solve problems? Okay, let's get into frequency. What's the average frequency you do for classes? Is it like once a month you're trying to hit, or is that a yes for you, John?
Yeah, it's once a month, except for November and December, because nobody comes out to events in November and December.
Yeah. All right. How about real quickly? Let's go to the panel. Paige, what's your frequency? She's trying to find the unmute button. No worries. That's why we don't do virtual, people. If you can find the unmute, we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Sorry. Yes. Monthly.
Okay.
All of that for just agreeing with monthly.
Sweet. Who else is monthly? Elizabeth?
I'm going to do in-person events every 6 months. I'm going to go all in on in-person events every 6 months, and then infill those with monthly events. But I am also skipping probably July, because July is also thin, and then November and December, like John was saying.
Okay. Patty?
It's whenever I feel like it's needed. I don't do it on a monthly basis, probably like every 6 to 8 weeks.
That's a lot. Okay. It's a lot to put this much together. I mean, every 6 weeks feels like a pretty quick pace.
Yeah. Do you find that it's one of the hardest parts is actually coming up with formatting, organizing the content?
all day long. And especially if you're doing it in person, you need an event space and coordinating that timing and the scheduling of that. Like, ain't nobody doing it for you.
Right, which gets back to having the right team in place, like affiliate partners, escrow, home warranty, insurance, all these other places.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's actually really easy for me to do it because I do have a lot of help with the partners that I work with. The insurance agency that I work with, like they have a marketing development, like business development person, and like she does 90% of the work for me. So I really just have to get the invites done, and we use like the local chamber space and we get it for free because we're members there. So it is a little bit easier if you have the right strategic partners to for sure facilitate a lot of in-person events. And then for the content, like my partners come in with half the content as well because we co-host it. So it's I'm able to leverage like 80% of the work. And then the cost, I leverage that too because my other partners help chip in for everything.
Yeah. By the way, a quick, I'll just interject here. What you'll see happen oftentimes when you do this consistently is you will become known. You will begin to build brand awareness associated to your events and classes. And as we mentioned earlier, the ripple effect, the one to many. I have clients that I work with that they do these classes, and guess what? They get invited to the brokerage to come teach the class. And they get invited to the local board of realtors to come teach the class. And the board of realtors does the marketing for you, and the brokerage does the same thing. Point being is do more, do better, right? So double down on it, have a commitment for the next quarter or whatever to do one a month or whatever the schedule is going to allow for you, but you can't just do it once and expect to build. It's like the plane getting off the runway. It needs momentum, right? To be able to get airborne. All right. I see a couple questions in the chat. Keep them coming, people. People are asking about, real quick, let's just go food, drinks, like, you know what I mean? What's the hot take on that? Anybody can jump on the mic.
I do not. I found that sometimes that brings the wrong people there. Now, if it's a happy hour or we're networking afterwards or something like that, yes, of course. But if it's strictly just a 1 hour class, I don't offer free anything.
Okay, cool. Everybody pretty much in the same agreement?
I disagree with that because if my purpose of my in-person events is going to be to create community and have space to share, I think breaking bread is a really powerful way to do that as human beings.
Yeah,
so I mean, I think like Paige, you're saying, like, I agree with you. It's a one quick and out. Like, I'd actually prefer that as an attendee. I'd be like, I don't need to have time doing this other, like, muffins and stuff. But I think if my intention if twice a year, my intention is going to be to get the right people in the right room and having a shared energy, I think food is a very, very pivotal part of that.
Yeah. Breaking bread, right? Like you want to break bread. Like bread isn't money too. So I agree with that.
But I usually,
but I usually, it's all about who you're sponsoring with. So it's like the more sponsors they are and you have somebody's delegated something, or even if you're just splitting the total cost, sometimes it ends up being like $50. It's not that much.
Yeah.
Mine are invite only. So like I do pay for food and stuff.
Yeah, I guess it goes back to, frequency, number one, and then number two, what is the event you're trying to create? Because if you are doing in person only twice a year, well, to me, that is an event. That's not a class, right? And so the way, just so you know, personally, the way I approach the classes typically, because I'm doing a lot of them, is I'm going to do those around the hours when they would expect to be fed. So start time at 10 or 11, out of there by 12, or 11, sooner than that, or if we're doing an afternoon thing. And that's just if you're consistently hitting this, repeatedly. Now, does that mean you don't like serve some snacks or drinks or whatever? No, but it's just we're not friggin' going all out and doing like buffet and all that kind of stuff, especially if your class is only 10 to 15 people.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A chicken minis, $20.
There you go. I mean, the thing that I always say is it's more important to have a conversation than to deliver a presentation.
Yep.
Because if you've got 40 slides or whatever, and you're feeling like pressure to do every slide, and I got to go through all, no, it's like have an engaging conversation with the group. And if you don't even get to all the slides, that's more impactful and more important. All right, let's switch now to panels. Who here has done a panel in the past on the panel? Show hands. All right. How often do you do the panels, John?
So we did the first one in September, so we're going to do them every quarter.
Okay, that's probably a good cadence. And just to clarify, how would you, for those listening or watching, define for me what a panel means to you?
Yeah. So for me, it's finding and identifying top agents. Again, these ones are closing at least 10 to 15 million a year if they're going to be a panelist. And these are agents that I either already work with to, continue helping them and being a partner with them. And it's also a way for me to get in front of new agents that I otherwise wouldn't be able to get in front of. So it's kind of a like recruiting and retention tool for me with the panel events.
Okay. When it comes to panel, right, you got to pick a topic, which means then you have a topic, and it means, okay, who's the right agents to have on the panel for that topic?
Yep.
How do you guys go through that, Jon? If you want to just real quick, and then I'll go to some of the other folks.
Yeah, so we did back to new school. So it was figuring out like what are the modern ways that these agents are closing business. So beyond like the cold outreach and the like FISBO conversations and stuff, right? So these agents they were all like younger, like under 40. Um, and we had a lot of questions submitted from the people. Like as part of the event registration, you had to submit a question. And so the topic was really about how to source business the unconventional way.
Interesting. All right. This question is for the panel. Whoever wants to grab it. How do you pick the agents you invite to be part of the panel?
They're my biggest fans.
Right. But let's go back to, let's just say if we're going to do something that's social media related or modern marketing related, right? So you can have a biggest fan who's wouldn't be necessarily appropriate for the panel if they're not right doing digital marketing.
Yeah, I have one that is. That's why I said that.
Okay, well, that's cool.
So
It's good that it works out like that. But let's just
yeah.
say you're getting started. Let's just say somebody here in this audience right now is like, hey, I want to get started by hosting a panel, which, by the way, my opinion is a panel is a relatively easy way to get started
Yep.
hosting events because you're the MC. You don't have to be the quote unquote presenter or trainer facilitator. So who wants to jump on? How would you identify? Obviously, it's based on your topic, but let's just say it's like modern marketing, right? The next gen, how to crush
Yeah.
2026. You know what I mean?
So how I identified mine was, again, the panel is a tool for me to get in front of top producing agents that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get in front of, right? So what I did was I identified the agent based on who are the people that I work with and what do we have in common, right? So I'm a younger person. I'm probably not going to be bringing on an agent that's 50 or 60 years old, right? Because it's just that we're not going to vibe as well as somebody who's younger, right? Also, what are they about? Like, let me scroll their social media and see what they're into. Do we have similar hobbies and similar interests? If I can't see myself having a real relationship with this person beyond just doing the transactions together, then they're probably not going to be somebody I'm really going after and prospecting anyways. And unless there's somebody that I can, believe that I can go prospect and actually get business from them, I'm not going to bring them onto my panel.
Uh-huh. Yep. That makes sense.
Can I just put a plug here? I don't know anybody better at this than Connor Bartley. So why don't we at least let Connor answer that question?
Come on, Connor.
Hey, yeah, I mean, for me, pulling a panel together is about people who are going to be, topical experts and people that are going to know. I found that out through conversation with everyone that's here that this is something that just specific to this group is that this is a strategy that you had executed successfully and was helpful in helping you build your business. So for me, it's really just about you got to have some credibility in the people that are going to be on your panel for the people that show up to the event to listen to the panel. And so having that credibility established first, but it's a great way to flatter people as well and say, hey, you're clearly an expert at this, and I want you to display your expertise to your peers. And I think in terms of just business to business relationship and what you do, taking this concept to a realtor, it's a great way to show that you appreciate who they are and that they're doing a great job and validating them as someone. We're all to a certain extent, not every, I mean, we all have a little bit of imposter syndrome at some point in our careers, right? And so when someone comes along and validates that, hey, I see what you're doing and it's tremendous, that, I mean, you just rose 10 points in their world, in my opinion. And like, I think that's a great way to really flatter someone and show that you notice them. So,
Yeah. I agree. By the way, back to partnering with other affiliates. Ask your title reps, ask your home warranty, ask other people who know realtors, right? And so if I'm looking for who is good on Instagram, let's say, for example, right? First of all, you should know that yourself. Like, this is part of prospecting and identifying who's in your backyard as successful agents. If you want to be a modern lender, you should probably be pretty up on who's doing good stuff on social media, right? So this is the strategy of searching, finding, connecting with, and then DMing agents and letting them know, hey man, great piece of content, or congrats on that listing, or whatever, right? But the point being is, you can easily find people in your backyard who are already successful at the thing you want to do a panel on. Period. You just haven't asked enough of the right people, or haven't been paying attention, right? So that'd be the first place I go, which would be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Title Rep, who do you know in town? Who do you work with who's crushing it on whatever?
Jeff, can I say one thing about panels?
Yeah.
I actually have never done a panel of agents, but I have had success with doing an appraisal panel, an underwriter panel, because those are two parties that agents always want to pick their brains and don't have direct access to. So that would be an easy place for people to start. And then the other one that I did recently that was actually more fun than anything, but was also a good turnout, was a mom panel of different business owners. So one was a realtor, but the rest were different owners. Business owners and how they balance being a mom and running a business. So you can also think outside the box in that regard too.
That's great. I love that.
Taking some notes here.
All right. Okay, so a couple more questions from the audience. The follow-up cadence on the back end of the event. So let's just say your event's done. You had whatever, how many people show up. It went well. You got the contact information. What's your post-event or class follow-up?
Hopefully you had a call to action at the very end of it, and like you're telling them, whether it's a VA certification class, well then you've got a certificate to give to them. If it's stuff about appraisals, then you've got like the cheat sheet that everybody was like probably taking photos of on that power deck, and then you're just following up with them and just saying, hey, did you get it? I want to make sure you have it. So there's touching points because you had that. So some of it is either that or just touching base, like, did you get thing out of it? And then the next question could be is, I'm going to host another class in X amount of time. What do you want to know? What are the top 3 things that you want to know about? Because then you're also getting information on what they're wanting to know. So it just kind of opens that up too.
I like that. I like that a lot. Who else has a follow-up strategy?
I send on my webinars or on my virtual ones that I do, I send the replay with a very beautiful email that's put together, and it's probably got some kind of additional collateral. So it not only has the replay, but it has my personal reflection on it too. I want to have an opportunity to demonstrate my value system and that I'm an intellectual who's wanting to help them, right? Like, that's my opportunity. It's not just here's the replay link, go with God, right? So it's probably got the replay link, and then like PJ was just saying, some other collateral that, that's a CTA. And then also I've also had very good opportunities within posting on Facebook and saying like, hey, I didn't expect this out of this event. And all the people that are like, I mean, I got this from Connor. I steal everything Connor does because smart guy. But like, if I say like, hey, if you want the replay, shoot me a message, like all the interaction that I get from that. And now that's on Facebook and other people are seeing that too. Don't not do that, because you're just taking one thing you already did and getting more spread than even people you already knew.
Love that. Love that. Real quick, by the way, hey, Connor, can you turn on screen sharing? I want to share with somebody, with everybody here. I'm going to share this link.
Sure will try, Jeff.
Yeah. I know you can handle it. Who here does follow-up calls to the attendees after your event? Okay, Elizabeth, John. Pat. Right? Okay. I love the fact that you said call to action, and because here's my framework is, in the class, when you've got whatever butts and seats there are, that is your best time to strike while the iron's hot. The trust is high, the resistance is low. And so whatever that call to action is, and by the way, when you get deeper on this kind of stuff, and some of y'all know this here on the panel, there's framing. Like framing, for example, is when you open up, and let's say you're teaching a class on business planning, for example, or AI. And I always like to frame it, which is like, hey, you may be wondering why a loan officer is hosting this class for you. Because they're
I like
probably
that.
wondering that in their head. Why the hell would I be attending a business planning session from an LO? And the way we do it is we frame it around this whole talk track around being a partner versus a vendor, right? And so we set it up from the beginning that my job is to be a partner, not a vendor. And a vendor, you know, of course, we deliver rates and close and blah, 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 all that stuff you would expect. But here's my goal is to help you solve problems and help you achieve your business goals. And if we do a good job of that at the end of today, I will have an ask. And the ask would be, should you be open to talking about potentially working together or working on the one big idea from today's class? I'm going to ask you for a conversation. Is that fair? And everybody at the beginning is like, yeah, that's fair. Just give me the goods, right? So that at the end, when that comes, here's my little secret hack. We put a QR code up on the PowerPoint slide that goes to your calendar. And it schedules a consultation, right? Or a go deeper on the one big idea thing so that you have that built in. And out of a room of 10 people, you're going to get 4 who book right then and there. So
That's
imagine,
awesome.
do the math. You're going to get 20. And so this is how we multiply and leverage and all that fun stuff. Okay.
We all just got better. Did you hear that? Did you hear
Yeah,
all of us
yeah.
just get better at the same time?
I'm gonna have a paper taking
Yeah,
notes.
thanks, Geoff.
We're all like, oh crap, we haven't been
Love
doing
it.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer in leverage and you know what I mean? Why not ask? Well, because you know how it goes. Once they leave, you know, the car business, there's a saying, right? There's no be backs. Like if you walk on the lot and they're like, you know, they let you leave and say, oh, I'll be back. No, you ain't coming back once you walk off the lot.
Yeah.
All right. So let me share this thing. I'm going to share with everybody here. I'll put a link. So this is just a template from Canva, and this is what we use a lot for creating flyers or whatnot. But look at this is so easy. I decided I wanted to share this with you because you could search on Canva and blow 30 minutes searching. So I'm going to give you this link in the chat in a moment. Just as a make sure in the chat right now, give Connor a thumbs up, an applause. Are you liking this so far? Let him know how much value you're getting from this right now. But look how easy it is to create a panel. Now, you want to get rid of the, you know, handsome Jack over here with the whole cliche pose. I'm not saying you have to put your, you know, your picture there, but why not?
John, is that you?
Yeah, that's funny. All right. So obviously your agents would go here, right? And so for me, the max of a panel would be 4. A rare case 5, but it gets a little bit, you know, crazy with 5 agents. You know, they love to talk, right? So 3 to 4, ideally. And then, you know, you just like fill in the bullets. What are you going to talk about? The date and the time. And like, yeah, if you're doing a physical flyer, I would add a QR code here as well. Now, this would be an example of a flyer that you give to your affiliates, title escrow, all those other people, because they're going out there and they're meeting agents every single day and they want something to talk about with agents. They want to deliver some value. They want to, and you know what I mean? So now to what we heard earlier is you've got your sales force multiplied. Okay, Connor, I put the link in there, but it can only go to hosts and panelists because I, for whatever reason, can't share to everybody. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I can. Sorry, my bad.
It's all good.
Technically challenged. There we go. All right, let's get back to questions of the audience. Let's begin to close out here on the panel. What's the one thing we didn't talk about that you want to make sure the audience gets? I'll take it from Patty. Anything else you want to share with the audience? You're muted there, my dear.
Oh, I was just replying in the chat real quick. So just to answer that person, Lewis Hamilton. I love Lewis. Okay, Ferrari. Okay. So the one thing that we didn't really get to chat about is I think the way the market is going as far as visibility and us staying on top and combating chat GPT because, you know, everybody's a do-it-yourselfer and things like that. So I think we really need to talk more about that because I think it's going to be more prevalent, but it's like in addition to all the other things that we're doing day in and day out with everything else. So.
Okay. Elizabeth, what would be one thing we didn't touch on or that you would just like to add?
I would say that everybody who's on this call already has a thing they can build a class around before the first of the year. You have it. Trust me, if you don't have it, you think you don't, and you really do. So I would just say, hey, what are the things that people reflecting back to you? Hey, you're so good at this, right? Or what they're asking you that you have like a really good answer on, and don't be afraid to just let that become the pull forward into booking your first event or your first class for Q1.
Love it. John.
Oh, hang on. There we go. So if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to no one. And so what I want you to do is if you're putting together an event, you need to be very specific with who you want at the event, the type of agent, because if you have just anybody there, you're going to have the agents that don't close any business. They're there for the lunch. They're there for the wrong reasons. So be very specific with who you're inviting and you will get a better turnout that way.
I like that. That's good. Paige.
I'll speak to, I mean, the fact that I love to teach on real estate investing because it brings value to agents. They're 1099 employees. A lot of them need to reduce their tax liability. They don't know where to begin. We, like to Elizabeth's point, we know a lot more about, even if you don't invest in real estate, because you know the financial end of it, you know a lot more than you realize. And so it's just another way to bring value to them to help them build wealth in general, but also, you know, you can bring in CPAs, you can bring in contractors. There's just that topic in itself can build out a 12-month plan. And it, again, you're a person, you're bringing resources to them and you're a person that can bring more value to them.
I love that, Paige. You just reminded me of back in the day, we used to host this event at the right time of a year where I had a tax planner come in and specialized in realtors and self-employed. So in your backyard, in your community, there is somebody who's a savvy tax advisor who wants to get in front of realtors. And this is where you don't obviously need to be the subject matter expert, but you just need to bring them in as a guest speaker. That's how I got started. I brought in guest speakers and then I eventually did it my own. And the last thing I'll say is this is one of my, when people ask me, how do you get butts in seats? Like what's a successful class? I say the first thing that determines if people are going to show up for your class or not is the title, period. It's just like a book. Do we judge a book by its cover? 100%. Or its title? Yeah. Do you judge a class by its title? 100%. So there's a lot of people that are doing classes with boring titles.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. So you can take a class that's mortgage related and reformat and restructure it, use GPT or Claude and say, you are a world-class direct response copywriter. Take this class topic and bullet points of what they're going to learn and rename it, reform, and just run it through the thing. And now you're going to get a direct response driven between the eyes and give it the context. It's specifically for real estate agents, you know, et cetera. Do the training we all know we need to do on AI and just use AI to come up with better class titles. Because I've tested them like crazy. Like one of them is, I don't have the slide ready, but for example, just listen to this. You got two classes, you're a realtor. One of them is called Marketing Your Authentic Self. The other one is called You Are the Brand. No subtitle yet, but which one are you already leaning towards, right? I know the answer. Most of you, it's You Are the Brand, because marketing your authentic self, your brain goes, what the hell does that even mean? I don't know, but I know I am the brand, right? And then the subtitle is, you know, very specific to how to get more clients, that blah, 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 make more money, etc. What do realtors want? They want to attract more clients. They want to be more effective at what they do. They want to stay current to what's working and relevant. And they just want to get better. And if you be the conduit for that, just like we heard from the panel here today, you will attract agents, you will get more conversations and trust, and you'll get more referrals. All right, we're officially at the end. Where is Connor? I want to hand it back to him.
Hey, I'm here.
There we go.
Did I disappear on you? I don't know.
I shrunk the screen. My bad.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Geoff, amazing job kind of running this panel and moderating everything. Elizabeth, John, Paige, PJ, awesome job with adding value and sharing your expertise and what what you go through with this as a topic and how you're bringing value to people. I know just leading up to this event, and I know there were people in the room today that were really looking forward to this, and I know I took away some really great things. I hope they did too. But this was an amazing thing. I'm looking forward to doing more of these in the future. And so to anyone who's hanging on still here, thank you for being here. You could have done anything with the last hour and you chose to be here. And that's not lost on me. So I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And I'll get the notes out to everybody later on. And I just thanks again to everybody being a part of this.
Hey, good luck, Jared, tomorrow on your event. Can't wait to hear how
Yeah.
it goes.
Go
Thank you,
crush it,
Geoff.
Jared.
Thank you, Connor.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
all
you,
so
Jeb.
much.
Thank you, Connor.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.